Welcome to another episode of Your Space with your host Hannah Arinitwe. Now for this particular show, we have something quite interesting. We moved away from our studios at UBC and moved all the way to Gulu City to have an interaction with some of the student leaders here in the Northern region. A young man who is part of the organizers for this particular AYLF conference. Hello, what's your name and welcome to the show.
My name is Daniel Ochaya, a student at Gulu University doing procurement and supply chain management, second year, and I'm so privileged to be the chairperson organizing committee for this event.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Allow me to thank you very much for having spaces for young people to come and learn and interact. Why do you think such spaces are important?
Thank you so much, Anna, for that question. This space is really so much important because when you reach out to a young person and you change the way they think, because we are living in a country where most of the young people think that you can't do anything about corruption.
Yeah.
Corruption can't be scrubbed off the country. But we are forgetting that we hold the biggest percentage of the population of this nation. That means we are the one who can do something literally about everything in Uganda to change the way we want it to be.
Okay.
So if, as the young people, we embraced a corrupt-free Uganda, trust me, we can transform this nation to obviously be the most best country in this world. Because when we don't have corruption,
yes,
we will have good services in the hospital, we will have good roads, good schools, like
good leaders,
everything will be just, I think we'll be in heaven.
That is true.
Yeah,
all right. Honesty and integrity are two very essential core values that young people should possess in order to have a country that we all love to stay in. But today's episode on Your Space, we have Dr. Patricia, the Deputy IGG, giving us an exclusive introduction and understanding on why integrity is a very key aspect for you and I.
My name is Patricia Achan Okiria, the Deputy Inspector General of Government. I would like to begin by thanking the organizers of this significant engagement because I look at it as a mentorship opportunity for us to engage with you, the young people, and share some insights on how to be relevant and how to make a significant impact in our different spaces. I would also want to thank the staff of Gulu University for the tireless efforts towards educating, preparing, and imparting all kinds of knowledge to this generation, irrespective of their background, irrespective of where they come from, irrespective of the ages, irrespective of the course unit you are undertaking. I have been here in Gulu University, I've interfaced with law students, I've interfaced with the Acholi Students Union as their patron, and I'm here again to interface with you, the leaders of Northern Region, gathering here today. You realize that corruption is a cancer. Corruption is one of the vices that has not only eroded the moral mantle of our society, but it has also retarded the economic development of the country. And as we have stressed it before, Uganda loses close to 9 trillion to corruption annually, and that is quite a lot of money. And this ranges from petty corruption to grand corruption. Petty corruption that is sometimes not noticeable, where people are paid salary to teach and they're not in class teaching. Someone is expected to do a certain task and he avoids to do that task. Someone is given money to implement a project, he halves the money and does shoddy work, and so on. So as we gather here today, we need to remind ourselves that this fight against corruption begins with us, like Uncle Tim was emphasizing here. It begins with me. Accountability begins with me, Patricia. Accountability begins with yourselves as the student leaders. So it begins with us. And therefore we need to build a culture of integrity amongst you, the student leaders, so that as leaders you're able to have a factory effect, a multiplier effect, and have significant impact on the rest of the student communities in your respective universities or colleges. So we need to build a culture of integrity among the youth, which is aiming at fostering a corruption-free Uganda. Because if we have a crop of leaders who are also ambassadors of integrity from Northern Uganda, you have ability to have significant impact and spread this all in the whole country. So when we talk about integrity and why it's important for you, the leaders, it is first of all good for us to understand what integrity is. And I believe Uncle Tim elaborated on what integrity is, but for purposes of specificity and clarity, I will again go through it. Integrity is a personal choice. When you look at integrity, according to the Oxford Dictionary, integrity is that quality of being honest, the quality of standing out as a honest person and having strong moral principles and uprightness. A person with integrity, if he entered the law, if he entered the lecture room and found 5,000 on the floor, he will pick it and want to know who the owner is. Another person will pick it and pocket it and say, Chikomando, I'm now going to get this Chikomando with this, you know? So we are talking about that moral uprightness, strong moral principles that helps you to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. It is generally a personal choice to hold oneself consistently moral with ethical standards. So that one time they will say, Peter here has been proven to have high moral competence. He does not compromise his standards. And therefore, we have found that he has distinguished himself, and we are ably recommending him to take up this position because he's a person of integrity. He has demonstrated this integrity. A person of integrity is also honest and truthful and accurate in his or her actions. As leaders, I know times comes when you're campaigning for positions of responsibility in the different spaces, and in so doing, you're spoiling others. You're damaging somebody's character because you want to be seen as the one who is what? Upright. You want to be seen as the best candidate. Integrity means following your moral and ethical convictions and doing the right thing in all circumstances, even if nobody is watching. Are you able to do the right thing in all circumstances? Integrity also means accuracy of one's actions. Do you pay attention to detail? Are you accurate? When you're given an assignment, are you able to pay attention to detail? There are people who sometimes write to us, they want to do internship, they want to do some kind, but when they're given the responsibility, they cannot even draft a letter properly. They don't pay attention to detail. The person doesn't know where to put a comma or full stop, or may not even know how to distinguish between a comma, a full stop, or a hyphen. In ethics, integrity is regarded by many people as honesty, as truthfulness, or accuracy of one's actions. So in our actions, let us try to remain as accurate as possible. Then we ask, who is a person of integrity? A person of integrity is always honest. A person of integrity adheres to good moral principles. A person of integrity does what is right. He knows how to distinguish between right and wrong. His conscience speaks to him. He's trustworthy. A person of integrity is also truthful in whatever it is they do. A person of integrity stands by their word. Today you'll find many young people. A person is hurrying to go. And you say, hey, where are you going? He's going, you see that he's going. But the man will turn and say, I am coming back, but he's going. Have you met such people? You see that he's going and you're like, but where are you going? I'm coming back. But you see that he is going. A person of integrity is dependable. He stands by his word. As leaders, are you dependable? Do you stand by your word? Is your yes a yes? Or your yes can be converted into a no? Because they say human being is also subject to change of mind. Do you stand by your word? Are you truthful? But we also have types of integrity. Integrity can be characterized as professional integrity, political integrity, academic integrity, and even integrity in daily transactions. When you look at professional integrity, the professional code of conduct. For lawyers, we have the professional code of conduct for lawyers. Even the medical practitioners do have theirs. Today we have the code of conduct for the public service. But how many people adhere to those codes of conduct? And the codes of conduct basically give us a layout of how we should conduct ourselves while in that profession. How you should conduct yourself while in public service. How do you conduct yourself as a student, as a leader? So we need to adhere to the guidelines we have within our different institutions. We need to obey the rules and regulations. And then there's political integrity. We need to work according to the promises we make. This 2025, many politicians are going around. They're beginning to campaign. They're warming up to take up positions of responsibility. But are they people of integrity? I had Uncle Tim telling you, guard your vote jealously. Vote for a responsible person. Someone who has distinguished himself, someone who is truthful and honest, someone who stands for values and principles, someone who has exempted or exemplified himself or herself as a person of integrity. We have academic integrity. What do the institutions demand of you as students? Recently, I was going through the dissertations. I've been a lecturer for some time. I taught at Islamic University for over 10 years. And I've also been teaching at UMI, teaching doctoral students as an associate consultant. And I'm also an external examiner for Okiria University School of Law and the University of Pretoria School of Law. And I am also a student doing another doctorate. But to cut the long story short, while I was going through the dissertations, because when I supervise, people bring copies. You read through and realize, but this is a copy and paste, you know? So where is the academic integrity? If students can do research and do it with plagiarism, they're picking other people's work and presenting as their own. And I was asking myself, where is the creativity? Where someone sits and uses his mind and uses his own knowledge and comes up with new knowledge to add on to the existing knowledge. So when we talk about professional integrity, political integrity, academic integrity, we also have integrity in daily transactions. How you treat people around you. What do people say about you when you're not there with them? Do they describe you as a person who is trustworthy? We have traits of people with integrity. A person of integrity, like we said earlier on, is trustworthy. He keeps up all the time. He stands by his word. A person with integrity is also authentic, is ever truthful. There are people who compromise and say, well, I'll tell a lie once in a while. But it becomes a habit. person of integrity is also humble. They don't quite know their own worth. But humility is able to take them to greater heights. Humility, by the way, doesn't mean that you allow people to sit on your head or trample over you. Humility is about humbling yourself. Because even the Bible says, God opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. There are people, because they are leaders, they think they have arrived, they are on top of things. They begin to undermine others because they think they have climbed enough. But humble yourselves so that you may be fit for the kingdom. Because here on earth, we are on kingdom business, like I heard Uncle Tim talk about it. A person of integrity is also apologetic, owns up their mistakes, and is able to apologize, admit your mistakes, and put things right. But I see many a times when people find blame in others, they have made mistakes, but they say it's because of so and so. They will always find excuses and push the blame towards other people. A person of integrity believes in other people. They trust others. They are able to empower others and equip others and hold their hands and enable them also to rise up. Enabling people to rise up, it's very exciting. I told some people a story of how in 2021, I took my family to Israel. No, it was not Israel. Well, true, I went to Israel in 2021 with my family, but I think this was 2020. We had a trip to Egypt. And while in Egypt, we went to the Sinai and climbed the mountain. It was so exciting to climb Mount Sinai, where Moses received his 10 commandments, and climb it not just by myself, but with my entire family. It was only the youngest person who didn't climb. And for some reason that day, it started snowing. I hear it had not snowed for 10 years, but it snowed as we were going up, and we kept climbing and climbing and climbing, and of course taking some coffee breaks. But we climbed up to the peak, and on top of the mountain, we were able to pray together and believed God for certain things. And today is 2025. God answered all the prayer requests that were made on top of that mountain. But the story about climbing, the story behind that mountain, friends, I've seen it's very exciting that when you climb, even in positions of responsibility, it's important that we hold the hands of others through mentorship, through coaching, empower others, so that eventually those others can be able to take up the positions of responsibility, because you'll have contributed in equipping them, you'll have contributed in, boosting their energy, giving them the confidence and the courage to be able to make it. It was not easy to climb that mountain. We needed courage, resilience. Remember, it was snowing. But it was very exciting to come down, because we came in a certain dramatic way where, because it was so slippery, we had to sit and keep rolling down and rolling down and rolling down, and it became like such a game. But it was very exciting to do it as family. There are traits of people with integrity. One, a person of integrity is kind-hearted. Is kind to people. They give to others to benefit others as well. A person with integrity doesn't argue over disagreements. You're able to analyze issues quickly. A person with integrity is truthful and genuine, like it has already been said, and they hold themselves accountable. Accountability, by the way, is not just about money. Accountable, even for the human resource around you, for the people you are leading. Are you accountable to them? Many a times you get gifts, donations, you fundraise, but are you able to go and account to the people you are leading that, hey, in such and such a meeting, we had this, we received this, we are able to use it in this manner. Are you able to walk in the light? We need to understand integrity, especially for your case as university students. To university students, what does integrity mean? Integrity basically means approaching your studies, your research, your professional life in an ethical way. Having the courage to make the right decisions at all times, because the decisions you make has got implications on the people you are leading, the decisions you make as students. For me, my job entails sanctioning arrests, investigations, and prosecution of corruption cases. It is very, very complicated a job, because even sometime along the way, you discover that while I'm struggling to prove that there was bribery, you find that it's a case of a willing giver and a willing recipient. So then as a lawyer, it makes my work even more difficult. I'm only able to break even if during the course of investigations, I discover that the person who came to complain as a whistleblower was part of the deal. And when the deal went sour, he did not get what he expected from the deal. He turns around to become the whistleblower. So as students, when we talk about academic integrity, it means acting in a way that is honest, that is fair, that is respectful, with responsibility as well. You have to be responsible in your studies and academic work. Because I also know people here who, when they have been appointed or voted in as leaders, they then concentrate 100% on the leadership and forget the academic journey. Because it is very embarrassing to see a leader getting retakes. Then whom are you leading? Remember leadership by example. Personally, I was a leader also. I remember my journey to leadership. I wanted to be Secretary of Campus Affairs for Mary Stuart Hall. And I campaigned and people believed in me so much. On the eve of the final campaign, I was now walking to Mary Stuart Hall and someone splashed water on me and I was wearing a borrowed suit and the leadership journey for that particular position ended there. But I did not put a full stop. I said, well, there is plan B. Within the School of Law, we had Makerere Law Society. I campaigned once and became secretary, organizing secretary, Makerere Law Society. And while I was still there, this one didn't need campaign. They just requested me to be the vice chair of the School of Law, Christian Union. So I became the mama of the fellowship of the School of Law. And that was training ground for me. I remember the patron of our fellowship is today Justice Lillian Ekirukubinza. She's a justice of the Supreme Court. And she is still my mentor though, but she was very, very humble. Just imagine she was a lecturer in the School of Law, and today she sits at the Justice of Appeal with her humility, in the Supreme Court rather, with her humility, she was able to guide us through. Now, when you see me doing some of the things I'm doing, I learned from the giants. I learned from the giants. So what am I telling you? Try to learn as much from the giants. Make contacts, networks. Because as leaders, it is through your networks that you're able to make significant impact. In simple words, it's a continuous, honest effort which, when it is present in people's lives, you see that they are able to make significant impact. It's an important lesson to learn that at such an age, it will be very useful even later on in life. So students need to learn integrity, that they should always never give up. As students, it's your duty to put your best effort and always remember that failures are simply stepping stones to success. There are moments when you'll also fail. Like even me, I did some retakes. Not many though. I think I had only one retake, and that was a commercial law. But I know how that retake came. I was able to see where my weaknesses were, and I was able to put it right. So when we talk about academic integrity, it's about who you are as a person and how you act when it matters. How do you act? Remember, as a student, it's about hard work and resilience and determination and the fear of the Lord. Because the Bible says in Proverbs 9:10 that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And this fear of the Lord can enable you handle your leadership responsibility and be able to balance it very well with the academic responsibility as well. So how can leaders demonstrate this integrity? How are you able to demonstrate this integrity as a leader? Because you realize that integrity is often thought as something that is simply part of your character. Like Uncle Tim said, integrity is a bedrock of your character. Integrity is what should define you as a person of high moral standards. Usually when they're vetting people for certain jobs, they say the person should have highly proven moral standards. Proven. How was he when he was in the university? Was he the one leading strikes? If he was a leader, how was his leadership? Did students trust him? Did they believe in him? Or he was a leader who compromised his standards? And the moment that comes out, your name is thrown out immediately. He compromised his standards. What did you do? Oh, he organized a trip for students. He embezzled the money for students. That alone taints your image. For you, you'll be there thinking, that's a gone thing. It was a thing of long ago. But you find that your past begins haunting your present. And an opportunity just slips off your hand like that and goes to another person. Friends, let us be people who are accountable, who are trustworthy, who are ambassadors of integrity in our different spaces. As a leader, it's crucial to demonstrate integrity in your workplace, in your circles of influence. And this means being honest, being transparent, being fair, being accountable for your actions.
You can never say learning will ever stop, because every time we have a conversation around integrity and how you and I can use that core value to fight corruption in our small ways as young people, I'm always ecstatic. Now, let's have this conversation continue on our social media platforms, on Twitter at YourSpaceUganda. Let's keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.